I must have been like 14 or 15 when I saw Marlon Brando in The Wild One. And he was the head of the motorcycle gang. And his name was Johnny. And there's a scene where Johnny comes into the diner and this girl looks at him and she says, "What are you rebelling against, Johnny?" And Brando looked at her and said, "What have you got?" I went to New York and changed my life. I knew there was a place for me on this planet. That was it.
There was theater in the village called the Theater de Lys, and they were doing Kurt Weill's Threepenny Opera, or as they say in Germany, Dreigroschen Opera.
The Theater de Lys, it sounds like such a arty, crafty thing. Well, Lucille Lortel told me it was the name of a plumber, and they just happened to use the name. He did the plumbing in the building. Very small, and a shabby theater, which was wonderful for Threepenny Opera.
299 seats, never forget that. 300 became union. 299, you were protected.
And then later on, they did Threepenny Opera in a very beautiful theater with beautiful chandeliers. Didn't work with Sting and Maureen McGovern. They're both wonderful, but didn't work. It was not shabby. It should have been shabby. Because it's a sleazy event, you know, with sleazy, lower depth people, beggars and thieves. I had a feeling this was going to be a very big production and very important. And I went down there and sang, and they wanted me very much to do Mrs. Peachum. I said, but I have another show I have to do in a couple of weeks. And they said, we want you for the reviews and for the recording.
She was going into a Broadway show.
We opened, it was a big hit. Lottie Lenya got great reviews. I got great reviews. Everybody got good reviews.
Well, I was working at the Marty Brazier Company. And as I said, I thought any day something fabulous was going to happen. So my teacher said to me one day, the wonderful Charlotte Ray was leaving the show. And would I like to audition? Well, I thought that was really great. I knew nothing about Kurt Weill or Threepenny Opera. But, you know, I thought, why not? And my name then was Mildred Frances Cook. And my teacher said to me, well, Mildred Frances, don't talk about politics. It was a hotbed of that kind of activity. Honey, I didn't even know who the President of the United States was. So I went down and I got it. And it was strange. I said, I'm all glitter and tits. What am I doing in this show anyway? Scott Merrill played the lead. Joe Sullivan, who was Frank Lesser's wife, was the ingenue. My daughter. Marty Wolfson was Mr. Peachum. And BEA ARTHUR was Lucy.
Yeah, I don't know about Broadway. I was the queen of off-Broadway.
Yeah, well, she was. And she was brilliant.
And my first, when I really burst through, was in the original production of Threepenny Opera. We did Mark Blitzstein's adaptation. Yeah.
And Jerry Orbach was in it.
I did Threepenny Opera for 3.5 years, sort of on and off, playing the street singer, Anne McKeith, and various gang members. I actually played Mac the Knife opposite Lottie Lenya when I was 20, for about 5 months.
I was so excited, I wouldn't have anything to do with anything. Opening night, I was walking the streets, walking, concentrating on my character, walking, thinking about Mrs. Peachum. And who should I bump into? Lottie Lenya. Walking, concentrating, walking. We acknowledged each other without a word and went on our way, concentrating on our characters.
The most fabulous thing of all was getting to know Lottie Lenya. I used to run around from the stage door to the front of the theater and watch Lottie sing Jenny's song.
Every night I would watch her do Black Freighter. She had something personal that she used, you know, the method. She used it, and she shook with rage every time she sang it. She was incredible. I mean, it was like fresh every night, fresh, absolutely fresh. I'll never forget her.
She had a little funny voice. She'd go, and the ship, the black freight. And I was fascinated. I mean, I wanted to be like Lottie Lenya. She did it exactly. She had that Prussian mentality. Exactly, raised her arm on the same time every night. She was Germany of the 30s.
And Mark Blitzstein would be in the pit. He was killed not long after that.
And it was a huge hit. And at the time we were playing, Lottie was offered the opportunity to take it to Broadway. And she refused. She said, no, it should be Germany's, down a dark alley and all of that.
She was right.
Well, she was so right.
She saved the show.
It belonged in this sleazy little theater. It belonged there.
It was a fabulous, fabulous experience.
I think we were getting $45 for a threepenny, and that was, for me, and still is, I think, the most exciting thing I've ever done.
After Threepenny, I was looking for something, and I was offered a show called Lock Up Your Daughters, which was going to come to Broadway, which was a fabulous sum of about $250 a week. But I was also offered a little show called The Fantastics for $45 a week, which is the same as Threepenny.
Harvey Schmidt, the composer, Tom Jones, the lyricist, their big success was that monumental show off Broadway called The Fantastics. And it just seemed to run forever. I think it's probably the longest running show ever off Broadway.
And I just loved the music and the songs and the humor and the romance of it so much that I took the cheap one. You know. And Lock Up Your Daughters, I think, closed in New Haven. You know. And Fantastics only made it for 42 years. Yeah.
It was just exciting, the whole thing.
It was just an exciting place, and that's where I learned my craft.
And it was such a thrilling and exciting and dangerous and wonderful time.